We keep on traveling west through the tunnels to Glenwood Springs. There's a beautiful hot springs here, but that will have to wait till next time. Yet we can stop at a nearby farm cemetery called Rosebud, where 6-year-old Helen Baylor died October 26, 1894, at the family farm, about 3 miles south of Glenwood Springs. For many farming families, Mr. Lewis and Margaret Baylor didn't want to bury their daughter in a cemetery, but chose instead to bury her on their family farm. The farm was purchased in 1886 and provided a variety of crops for the family. Mr. Lewis decided to take a small portion of his land to plat it as a cemetery. He passed away in 1915, and the family took care of the cemetery, whereas in 1920, the land had fallen into disrepair. The city was granted ownership in 1929. Glenwood Springs was originally inhabited by the Ute Native One Nation tribe, with a hot, bubbling hot springs. With the arrival of the railroad in 1887, to become highly regarded as a healthy destination for many travelers, as well as the amazing vapor fairy caves and the haunted Hotel Colorado. Helpful hint, video about that coming later this summer. We make our way west through these beautiful mountains, passing through a few blizzards and historical tunnels that my grandfather helped mine to tell the tragic story of Gary Allen Hinman and pay our respects to the good friend. Hello, my friends. Wow, we are here in the mountains to tell the story of a young man named Gary Allen Hinman here in this beautiful mountain cemetery. And I came here to tell his story and show you his final resting place. So here we go. Gary Allen Hinman was born in 1934 on Christmas Eve in Colorado. He studied at the University of California, Los Angeles, graduating with a degree in chemistry and pursuing a PhD in sociology. His friends remembered him as a kind-hearted man. He purchased a home in Topanga Canyon in California. Gary had an open-door policy for any friends needing a place to stay. They could stay as long as needed in his home. Gary was a talented musician and worked at a music shop. He taught bagpipes, drums, piano, and trombone. Also established a mescaline factory in his basement. He had planned to go to Japan, being into the spiritual Nichiren Shoshu Buddhism. He wouldn't make it to Japan. He befriended Charles Manson and his followers, which included Bobby Bosalil, Susan Atkins, and Mary Bruner, avid followers of Charles Manson. spending the summer in his home. Charles Manson mainly staying at his isolated Spawn Ranch. A man believing that the future of humanity relied on the balance of a white and black population race war. But during the summer of 1969, Bobby purchased a bunch of pills from Gary, sold them to people who complained that they weren't any good, and he asked Gary for his money back. As well as Charles Manson thought Gary was to inherit a substantial amount of money, possibly $20,000, also investing money into his house and cars. On July 25th, Charles Manson ordered Bobby to go over to Gary's house and scare him out of his $20K, accompanied with Susan Atkins and Mary Bruner, rumored to have had a relationship with Gary Hinman. Later, Bobby would say Gary was his friend and he didn't deserve what happened to him. Bobby went to Gary's house asking for money. Gary said he didn't have any. Bobby roughed up Gary. Then he called for backup. Charles Manson and Bruce Davis arrived at the house. Once again, Gary had told them there was no money. Charles Manson drew out a samurai sword and cut Gary's ear and cheek. Then they, Charles and Bruce, left in one of Gary's cars, leaving Bobby and the girls behind. They cleaned up Gary as best they could, stitching up his face with dental floss. He begged them for no more violence and to just leave his home. Fearing Gary would turn them all in for what they had done, Bobby thought there was nothing left to do but take Gary's life. For a few days, Gary was mercilessly tortured. Then they did take his life. They wanted to pin the crime on the Black Panthers, so they wrote Political Piggy on the wall, along with a paw print. A few weeks after Manson and his crime family committed the more publicized Tate LaBianca crimes, Bobby was arrested for the Gary Hinman crime, first pleading not guilty, then admitting to taking Gary's life. Today, Bobby Bostolo regrets what he did to Gary and wished he had faced the music instead. For a man he considered his friend. He has been denied parole 18 times and then likely to never be granted. We shall walk a few moments to the graves of the Hinman family, Gary, his mother, and the unmarked grave of his father. December 24th, 1934 to July 27th, 1969. Alongside his mother and father, Frances Joan Miklish Hinman, 1909 to 1970, and Robert Hinman, 1905 to 1986. Rest in peace to Gary Allen Hinman. Love and beautiful light for you forever. Up a few rows from Gary Hinman stands a beautiful pine cone in our tribute tale from beyond story of an amazing, extraordinary man. I'm always very happy there is a story to tell. Everyone has a story. Not everyone has their story in print to be told. Paul Pine, loving husband and father and friend, who loved his family, home, and business, you will always be lovingly remembered. Paul was born September 1st, 1947, a native of Diagonal, Iowa, moving to Colorado after graduation from the University of Iowa. He began a masonry business in Evergreen, and in 1988 started Pine Stone Company in Glenwood Springs. He loved his business, employees, and customers. He worked very hard to be fair, ethical, and create a win-win situation. His inscription reads, "The clock of life is wound but once, and no one has the power to tell just when the hands will stop, at late or early hour. Now is the only time you own. Live, love, toil with a will. Place no faith in tomorrow, for the clock may then be still." He loved to read and also loved history, known to be a fountain of historical information. He enjoyed his many cars and driving fast. He passed after a long, hard fight following complications of heart transplant surgery, May 23, 2005, at the age of 57. His willingness and courage shall remain an inspiration to all his family and many friends. I will link below his memorial contributions in continuous love and light to Paul Pine. Thank you for joining us on our adventures west. Stay tuned for more tales from beyond.